Hello, and welcome to CareSmartz360 On Air. I'm Dennis Gill, Senior Sales Consultant at CareSmartz. Today's conversation is for home care leaders who know that scaling isn't just about adding locations. It's about building systems that hold up under pressure. So our guest today, Lisa Fausey, President at Home Helpers of Martinsburg, Winchester, Hagerstown, and Frederick, brings decades of hands-on leadership experience. Lisa joins us today to unpack what it really takes to scale home care across state lines, from workforce realities and compliance to culture, accountability, and mission-driven growth that actually lasts. Welcome to the podcast, Lisa.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dennis.
Well, thank you. We are really grateful that you were able to take out the time today for our listeners and all the home care agency owners who would be going through this session. And I hope it's a pretty fruitful session for them today. Right. So without wasting any time, I'll straight away jump in with my first question for you. So, Lita, what operational systems must be rock solid before an agency even considers expanding into another state?
Well, Dennis, I would say the first thing you must have in place is that you have day-to-day operations under control. You have the right support team in place.
Mhm.
People first, and then logistics second. You must have your hiring down. You must understand and have built a good culture within your
Okay.
organization so that as you have built those same systems in one market, then you can move on to the other. There's a lot of other parameters with that, but the first thing is to be strong in one place.
Got it. And how do regulatory and licensing differences change the way leaders should approach growth, not just the compliance part?
Well, for me personally, I began reading a lot
Mhm.
and talking to other owners within the markets that I wanted to expand to. We started
Okay.
here in West Virginia, and West Virginia is a non-licensed state for home care, home health, and hospice. We operate under a CON if you're in a Medicaid or a Medicare provider. But
Okay.
for a home care agency starting off with private pay, there were no regulations. So I went with what my brand Home Helpers taught me and then learned along the way. But when I went to Maryland, quite different. Maryland is
Okay.
a licensed state. And
Yeah.
so, it's really reading and understanding what it takes to do business in that next state and what the opportunity is. Because,
Mhm.
that brings with it, the licensure also brings with it opportunity, not just, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, to
Yeah.
meet the compliance, to meet the regulations. It's really about the opportunity that it brings to your business because then you can also work with commissions on aging.
Mhm.
You can become a VA provider, you can become a Medicaid provider, various different things within the state.
Got it.
So as I started reading and learning, I really wanted to know not only what was necessary, but what the
Mhm.
opportunity was.
Okay. Okay. So self-learning and reading can be the core thing to
Mhm.
start off with.
Yeah, and I also started a conversation with the licensure office.
Okay.
I found out who to speak with there, so that along the whole pathway they could guide me and lead me and direct me.
Uh-huh.
I'm very much a rule follower, other than I do
Okay.
speed a little and don't follow that rule, but I try to follow the rules, and so I wanted to do things the right way. And
Okay.
having that communication early on with the licensure office, I think was really important, but also respecting their time because those offices, no matter what state, are very busy and they're
Mhm.
overseeing the entire state. So
Yeah.
I tried to show a little compassion for them as well and just have nice conversations. And everyone was so willing to help, which I really appreciated. And it gave me some peace of mind through the process.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Good to know that. And what staffing and caregiver support strategies matter most when managing teams across multiple states?
Well, I think because we run everything centralized. I know
Okay.
different folks decide to do it differently. We run centralized. So everything that we have before we started this process, we put all of our personnel records in the cloud.
Okay.
We made sure that we were able to access everything no matter where we are. Because if I'm working in a Virginia office or I'm traveling and I need to access something, why would I want a paper folder?
Yeah.
That's kind of 1980, going
Right.
back to my
Correct.
high school days. But I think that it's really important that you have those systems in place and that
Mhm.
you have a process for hiring. You can easily drop in a different form. You can easily um, adjust the process per the state requirements. But if you don't have that hiring system in place first, it's going
Hmm.
to be real complicated to rebuild and replicate what you've already done successfully. So we built all of that out and got everything ready for our caregiver journey first. And
Okay.
then we just implemented it across the state lines as we migrated.
Okay. And currently, how many states are you operating from?
Just
You're
three, just
three.
three,
Three.
Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia.
Okay. Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia. And Lisa, where do agencies most often underestimate the cost, complexity, or risk of multi-state expansion?
Well, I think the first thing that I looked at in regard to cost, what was expensive and what
Hmm.
changed things for me were required benefits in different states.
Okay.
So here in West Virginia, there's no requirement for me to provide any type of real benefits. Now we
Okay.
do, and we always have about from maybe year two that we opened. But the cost to provide the workers' comp, the cost to provide insurance, our business insurance is different in each state.
Yeah.
Also, workers' compensation as your organization grows, and your workers' comp is based on your salaries or your payroll. So,
Got it.
as your payroll grows, you have to get ready for that. Also, the training requirements in each state are different. Some have
Hmm.
no training requirements, and some have so many hours a year or so many hours per quarter. So, you have to
Yeah.
make sure that you're planning for that. Of course, the cost for license
Hmm.
in Maryland, big $500, but in Virginia, $1,500. And if you
Oh.
don't meet the licensure requirements when they come to survey you, they will kick
Uh-huh.
you to the line and make you pay the $1,500 again. So
Oh.
you have to really know these things up front because if you don't know it,
Okay.
it can be a costly mistake. And then
Definitely.
office space. For
Uh-huh.
instance, in Maryland, we've gone from one office to another, which we, needed more size so we could use the space for different things. But
Okay.
originally, I started off the first office in my house for a year, worked all by
Okay.
myself. So there was
Uh-huh.
very little cost. But now when I look at my P&L and I'm like, we own a building in West Virginia,
Hmm.
and then we have rental space in Maryland, and we have rental space in Virginia. And
Hmm.
then I look at that on the P&L, I'm like, oh, now I see what the real cost is. So while it
Okay.
wasn't all at one time,
Hmm.
um, you really do need to plan for those costs.
Hmm.
And like in Virginia, you're required to have a physical office and
Okay.
you're required to have signage and you're required to have a person in your office during designated office hours. So,
Okay.
that was a difference for me as we were looking at Virginia, because in Maryland, yes, we have an office, but we didn't always staff it. It is staffed now, but we didn't always staff it then. And we just used it as we needed it, kind of a dropping off point
Okay.
or a place you could stop it and use a PC instead of an iPad or a tablet.
Uh-huh.
So now, though, we have our CPR classes are all done in our Maryland office. We do some of our other trainings up there. Our nurse sometimes will meet with people in different offices as she's assessing caregivers and their skills. So we have all the classrooms set up for our training lab with a hospital bed, mannequin, Hoyer,
Okay.
wheelchairs, all those things in the different offices. And so those are all some of the costs that over time you have to look for.
Oh, great. I think this would be really beneficial for the listeners who are, if they're thinking of opening up in Maryland or Virginia specifically. So it must be very, 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 very fruitful for them.
Well, and we're not even the most regulated states. So I'm sure that there are probably even some more costs in some of the areas in which, we all operate across the country.
Okay.
And I don't think it's real different. I just think that you just have to know what you're getting into.
Got that. Got that. Got that. And how should home care leaders evaluate AI tools when scaling? What generally supports multi-state operations versus adding noise?
Well, I think that when we come, and we're still learning AI, I'm telling you,
Hmm.
it changes every day. I'll read a newsletter and there's something new out there that, well, let's try that. Let's consider this. I think where we see that we're using it the most is really in our ongoing communications with referral sources.
Uh-huh.
So, using a CRM that has built-in AI tools and automations that you can build um, and you can build them out per your locations. So
Yeah.
for us, because we're in three different states, we actually have three different websites. On
Okay.
each website, we have a chat bot there that is human managed. It's with AidQuest. Many people in the home care space know AidQuest,
Hmm.
where it pops up and then a human actually comes on and interacts with the person on your site. But I think using AI, I don't know that the consumer or the person visiting your site would really know much different. We
Yeah.
also, on our hiring side, we have an AI screening that actually we call a Ruby, and
Hmm.
Ruby is through CareWork, and CareWork will pre-screen with AI any applicant. So
Okay.
we're screening out right away those individuals. And just imagine if you're a company getting 300, applicants or 500 applicants in a month, if you
Yeah.
had a human that had to sit there and call every one of them to
Yeah, I get
pre-screen,
that.
the AI is able to actually help with that. And then we can focus on those people who are really the ones that we may want to hire. So to me, that's probably the number one tool. Find something AI that can help you with pre-screening your applicants. And you can build it out to where over time it understands, Ruby does anyhow, understands the different markets that we're in. So
Uh-huh.
if it's talking to someone in a county in Virginia that we don't work in, for instance, it actually will
Yeah.
let the person know that while they're
Got it.
talking to them. And as I interacted with it, it could answer questions that were not real specific questions, but they were mostly the general ones that we get asked from people that are looking for employment here. So I think
Okay.
that's a really good thing. And then, of course, the website side for being able to screen or help the website capture that information data from someone visiting your website.
Yeah, and as you rightly said, AI is definitely changing every day. As we learn one thing, I know three new things is coming on. But yes, this
Mhm.
person has to be on foot of that they are pretty well versed with all the AI features, AI tools that are coming up.
Mhm.
And lastly, as we are already into 2026, so what operational or compliance shift do you believe multi-state home care agencies must prepare for now to avoid falling behind?
Well, I think one of the things that I try to prepare for as we look at each year and as things change over time, first off,
Mhm.
we're always watching wage and hour laws. We're always watching minimum wage changes. A big change that we have coming forth in Maryland, they are going to be one of the states that's offering paid family leave. And so
Okay,
they have a program called Family, FAMLI,
okay.
and come 2027, all employers and all employees, even with only one employee in the state,
Hmm.
must contribute, and their employees must contribute a percentage of the pay into the family fund. And then in
Okay.
2028, the employees will be able to withdraw for specific reasons that they would need paid family leave, such as the birth of a child, the adoption of a child, caring for a dependent, etc.
Hmm.
And I believe they can take out up to 13 weeks of paid leave from this fund. And there's
Okay.
still a lot of questions and things around, but being aware of changing regulations within each state is really
Yeah.
something. You have to get on the newsletters from the workforce in each state, get on the
Yeah.
newsletters from any other organization that you're part of. And a lot of it's information you may not need, but
Hmm.
sometimes there's just one little paragraph and you're like, oh my, and that's how I
I
learned
missed
about
that.
family. I
Ah,
saw it in one of the newsletters, from
okay.
the Aging Network in Maryland. So I really think that it's important to participate. It's also important if you have a state chapter for the Home Care Association of America, please
Hmm.
participate with it. We
Okay.
have been able in West Virginia to affect some changes here. We have another topic we're working on. Actually, we were just working on scheduling a meeting with someone in our state later on in the beginning of April
Okay.
to get some clarification on some code. And then also, if there's no chapter in your state, go to the HCAOA and ask
It's
them, how do you
COA.
form a
Yeah.
chapter?
Hmm.
And it really has been beneficial to our organization and to my personal understanding of home care in general.
Oh, perfect, perfect. No, no, good to know that. Good to know that. Many new things that we came to know about these three states specifically, and our listeners also. And it was lovely, lovely talking to you, Lisa. I know it was a small session. In future, we might have to schedule another session with you for more detailed conversations. I would love to have that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Sure,
for your
anytime,
time.
Dennis.
No, thank you for your time. It was great talking to you, and thank you for my listeners also. I will be back shortly. Thank you.